Even before I landed in Australia, I already had a backup plan in my head, because you never really know what tomorrow brings. Japan had always been the plan. Living there, eventually, that was always somewhere in the back of my mind. And the harder Australia made it to get a long-term visa, the more that plan started pulling at me, which is strange, because I was genuinely happy in Australia, surfing, a great apartment, friends I actually love being around. But sometimes you have to let go of something good to get to something else. I was on a student visa. Full-time work outside of holidays wasn't even an option for me, but I needed to save. Australia pays well, especially with weekly paychecks. That makes budgeting so much easier, but it's expensive. If you're on an average income and can only work part-time, 50-60% of what you make disappears into rent, into basic living costs, before you've even noticed. So, I had two options: live in a tent to avoid rent, or cut my spending down to nothing. I did neither, because cutting expenses alone was never going to be enough. I needed to make more, not just spend less. For 3 months I looked for something, anything. Nothing came up, until I found out people at my backpacker hostel were trading 21 hours a week for a free room. I put my name on the list. 2 days later, because I'd already been staying there long term, they offered me something better. 2 hours a day, every morning, in exchange for free accommodation. Picture that. Every dollar you make as a student just stays in your pocket. Your only real expense is the basics. And there was something I didn't expect going in. Every week, backpackers leave behind clothes, food, things they don't want to carry anymore. I ended up covering a huge part of my groceries that way, completely by accident. If you've ever been a student working 2 jobs, you already know. It wasn't really 2 separate jobs. It was one long day that never stopped. 6 a.m. I opened the hostel, cleaning, prepping the kitchen, opening the rooftop, wiping down reception. School started at 9. That left me 1 hour. Shower, breakfast, coffee, and getting there. I made it work every time. Some days I walked to save the bus fare, drank my coffee during class instead. School ended in the early afternoon, 2 hours after that, to get back, change into work clothes, eat something, and get to my second job. That was the rhythm. For months. Was it worth it? Completely. I met people I'm still close to today, scattered across the entire world. I saved real money. I partied constantly. If I could go back and do that exact year again, the same hostel, the same chaos, I would, without hesitating. Partying every day was genuinely fun, but everything good has an edge, and eventually something else starts calling louder. Quitting alcohol had nothing to do with saving money. I just wanted to get back into training, back into a routine. I didn't realize how much it was actually costing me until I stopped. Cheap wine every single night. Some nights an after party on top of that. I never once looked at what that was doing to my bank account until the drinking stopped and the number just changed. Here's something about Australia that actually made this easier. Pay and rent are weekly, not monthly. No 30-day gap where a surprise expense wrecks you. But the real shift wasn't the schedule. It was noticing what small spending actually does. Over time. I used to grab a coffee before school every morning. $5. Feels like nothing in the moment. That's $150 a month. $1,800 a year. And that's just the coffee. Before the snack next to it. The clothes I bought when my closet was already full. The shoes I didn't need a 10th pair of. The moment I started making coffee at home, living a little more minimal, I stopped thinking about money constantly. because there was less to think about. That doesn't mean cut everything. I'd never trade a coffee with friends, and the conversation that comes with it, for anything. $8,000 isn't a huge number, I know that. But what it represented was never really about the money. It was freedom, the ability to make a decision on my own terms. I worked hard to get there. And that number was the first moment I felt like I'd actually broken the chain.